Good morning, comic book fans. Welcome back to Comics in 5 Minutes. I'm Revel and host Shorty, and I'm going to review the Roadie today. Tim Seeley, who has done some pretty good writing in the past, stuff I've quite enjoyed, but with art by Fran Gallen, I'm not entirely sure I pronounced that name, that I'm not familiar with, but it did not take long to fall in love with. We have a solid opening page, which includes some characterization, physical characterization, which basically looks a little bit more stylized and comic booky, which ends up being quite good fun. We get an excellent shot of a gig in process, which works really quite nicely, and an absolutely brilliant OTT single page of a demon being bound while a metal gig is happening. Now, that's pretty much exactly the kind of stuff I like. It's kind of stylized, but not over the top. It isn't 100% scratchy like I kind of enjoy. There is some like softness and smoothness to the coloring, but the coloring when it needs to be is absolutely huge and bold and exciting. And throughout the comic book, there's 3 different live music performances. Each one feels unique and interesting in its own way. There's an awful lot of interesting POV kind of playing around with, so you can see the gig from various different angles, and the audience reactions are all individual and done really nicely, especially the more recent ones where there's just preppy douchers being annoyed that they might have to listen to some ethnic music, which was particularly well done. Brilliant facial expressions and costume design. In fact, costume design throughout is fantastic. Including one of my favorite little tricks is the way the clothes people are wearing at the gig in the 80s, the hair metal gig, compared to 30 odd 4 years later, playing in a bowling alley for an acoustic night. Very similar style, but a kind of different way of wearing it. These little things all add up to just be absolutely fantastic artwork from start to finish. I loved every single page, every panel. So the paneling panel's fantastic. There's even some stuff which I usually don't like, but he did really effectively, including slight motion lines, but not all the time. You see him like in the expansion of sound out of a bass drum being kicked and fingers moving down fretboard quickly. Not like you don't need to know that they're doing that to see the motion, but it does add a certain sense of a live experience of music actually happening, which is hard to do on a silent piece of imagery where it's silent and static. It's really, really good artwork. And the writing is fantastic too. Tim Seeley creates a brilliant world with an awful lot of individual moving pieces. We're talking hair metal and Satanism and a warlock and the Satan, literally the Satan, who has an amazing plan to effectively use people's blasé attitude towards Satanism and the big push in the 80s and 90s for Moms Against D&D kind of stuff, of like anything to do with Satanism is bad. And the heavy metal music does actually like summon forth these demons, but they're pretty easily put down, and kind of everyone's just okay attitude with Satanism being a part of heavy metal ends up being a really good thing for the world because it allows the Satan to stay powerful based on everyone's fear and hatred of the supernatural. But it doesn't really come across as dangerous for anyone, apart from some like right-wing bigots get a little bit weird about it. But then they introduce this idea that Satan becomes blasé, and another demon tries to take power by actually having people fear and hate each other, like other humans, which feels very on the nose what's going on at the moment. It is handled quite nicely, and not at all simply because I quite like the idea. Since heavy metal is on the downturn, it means there's more evil in the world. Yeah, like me as a metal fan, I can't say that that isn't an appealing concept for me, but it's handled well, and it's done just about tongue-in-cheek enough. Not completely, but then you also throw in the fact that the Roadie, our main character, is a seventh son, he's a warlock who controls the demons that get summoned. He once in the 80s had sex with, or in the 90s maybe, had sex with a succubus, and they had a child, but he didn't know about it, and she's been in foster care, and she's become a satanic rapper, which is, again, brilliant. Love the idea of that one. A nice little mix of genres like that, absolutely fantastic. Go and check out Zealanada. They do old school Delta blues and satanic black metal. It's a fantastic blend. I'm loving what they're doing in this comic book for all that kind of thing. My only issue, I think, and it's a minor one, is there is a lot of information in this first issue. There's a lot of stuff going on. I mean, all what I've just told you, and the fact they had sex with succubus means you can't like have sexual gratification anymore, which comes into play on more than one kind of occasion in conversations. The relationship between the characters are fantastic, but I feel like they've pushed to the side to get the plot exposition in there, and the idea that there is quite a lot of satanic backwards and forwards on like what is actually happening, where the power is. That's a lot of information, and I did kind of have to go back and I read the entire thing twice to make sure I was representing it as accurately as I could. I think because this is a miniseries, I think 4 issues, I think there was a lot of pressure to get an awful lot of information out so it can carry on with the story. And I think it does hit the story a little bit in this first issue. Not enough to spoil it for me. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I can't wait to see what happens next. That's it from me today, though. I'll be back tomorrow with another review. Until then, look after each other, everyone. Stay safe. Bye.